You have been scheduled for termination. Do not be afraid.
Hi there. You've read the title. This is a top 11 list of, let's call them suggestions to take your MPC and Maschine compositions to the next level. It's also going to be applicable to a lot of pattern-based sequencing. Nothing here is carved in stone. There will always be exceptions, but play the odds because that's how you're going to be successful. Number 11, you need a combination of cohesiveness and variability. By their stylized natures, dance, pop, hip-hop, etc., tend to be very repetitive. If you have a great hook and a great vibe, you are probably boring your listener to death. You need to give them something better than great. Everybody has great. Even my tone-deaf Uncle Patty could put a track together in 20 minutes on an MPC. All this amazing technology we have makes it easy to produce high-quality recorded music that sounds very compelling, but it can't write awesome melodies and awesome beats for you. Number 10, successful prose crosscut patterns. Maybe you're not trying for commercial success, or maybe you're just getting started, but cross-cutting patterns makes for more interesting music. Moreover, it partially solves number 11 by automatically adding pattern variability. It's an absolute must in this type of music. Number 9, successful prose crosscut bars. This is related to number 10 and it's something you have to do. Musicians and producers who use linear sequencers rarely become victims of the sterile nature of pattern sequencing. The strength of pattern sequencers is that they allow you to compose small segments of a song and then stitch them together so you're just dealing with bite-sized pieces. The weakness is the inherent repetitive nature of the final production. Also, and let's admit it, it's very easy to become lazy when putting music like this together. You just start copying and pasting forever. If you're going to use pattern-based sequencers, one word, crosscut. Number 8, learn your hardware and software inside and out. It doesn't matter how good of a musician you are. If you can't use the hardware and software to its fullest potential, you're holding yourself back. You can learn as you go, and that's not a bad way to do it, but it's better to crank out a chapter or two of the manual each week and take your skills to the next level. Number 7, learn song structure. Many people that produce this type of music don't want to learn music theory, and that's fine. The problem is that they can be doing themselves a grave injustice, especially when it comes to song structure. It is possible to have a great beat, great melody, great vocalist, and great production, and still produce a rambling mess. Without a compelling song structure, it's just great when it could be awesome. Learning song structure and its application doesn't take very long, and your songs will be so much better for it. Number 6, know your library. I don't mean your local book library, I mean your sounds and your instruments library. Knowing what you have and where to find it quickly can be the difference between great and awesome. It can also be the difference between a rapid-fire succession of explosive composing ideas or struggling to figure out what's next. If you have a massive library like me, keep notes or do what I do, use a template, and I have an episode on that. Number 5, think about going hybrid with your sequencing. I already talked about cross-cutting patterns and bars. Using a hybrid sequencer setup where you run your pattern-based sequencer inside a linear sequencer as a VST can open up a world of creativity. Obviously, that means spending money on a linear sequencer like Cubase, Logic, Reaper, or Pro Tools. But in many cases, you don't have to buy the top-of-the-line version of those particular tools. An intro version usually is more than enough. Also, Don't forget that linear sequencers have pattern-based options too, and they often come with a ton of additional content, and I mean sound content. Can you do it in one box? Sure you can. The other tools just make it easier, and they can take you to the next level. Number 4, learn from others, but don't try to be them. I've heard from people lately telling me that people say they sound just like this artist or that artist and that their productions are just as good as those artists. That's great, but find your own unique style attributes in the genres of music you pursue. If A&R or music supervisors want music that sounds like these famous artists, they're just going to go to these famous artists. Number 3, you've got to create your own raw content. Everyone doing this has a basic 808 kit, or 100,000 808 kits, or even one that has been processed through a vocoder and affected with a flanger. Sampling your own sounds can take you to the next level. When people start listening to your song and they ask, "What the heck is that strange sound on the backbeat?" you can tell them with pride that it's something you sampled and that no one else has that sound. Sampling is cool, and moreover, it's easy with today's technology. Number 2, all you have is your creativity. You probably have some great gear and some great tools, but pros have more. Better recording environments, the best musicians, the best singers, the best producers, and AI is testing everyone's music reality. If you want people to take notice, you've got to stand out, and that takes creativity. Don't be a follower. Cut your own path in music. Speaking of AI, you know that it works by analyzing hundreds of thousands of songs, if not millions, and then it mimics them. It may do that and do a great job, but it will still never have the spark of originality that you do. Number 1, know the 3 most important elements of a marquee song. Those 3 elements are melody, melody, and you guessed it, melody. A few people may air drum a song, but most sing, whistle, and hum melodies from their favorite songs, no matter how compelling the groove. People remember melodies. One of the biggest hip-hop albums of my time is Please Hammer, Don't Hurt 'Em. Can't Touch This was a massive single from that album. I can't air drum you the beat because I don't remember it, but I can sing you the melody. True story. I spent a 3-day weekend, 12 hours a day, with that album looping on my CD player as I painted my house. I did this to understand its construction and why it was so successful. That album is a hip-hop masterpiece with awesome melodies. I'm glad I put this tape in, if you know what I mean. If you believe the hype, it was recorded on a $10K budget and sold over 18 million copies. It may have been because of the beats, but it was definitely because of the melodies. Hopefully you found something in this episode to take your music to the next level. I have faith in you. If you disagree with me on anything in this episode and feel inclined, you can scold me politely in the comments. If you have anything to add that you think is important, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for stopping by. Take care, and I'll see you in another episode soon. Bye now.
Today in the news, the government wants to remind you that in order for your complacency to true societal harmony to be achieved, you must comply with law and directives. You will be given safety in exchange for your freedom. This is best for you and for your fellow citizens. Transmission terminated.